The direction this current administration has set for the military will result in weaker military leadership, which will in turn fail to provide for the common defense for the people through a lack of deterrence of those who wish to seek to destroy us. Why weakening our military internally will lead to the downfall of this country on this episode of The First Branch. We're starting a new series here at The First Branch. Our goal for this series is to examine the moral foundation that currently drives political and military decision makers. Why we are choosing to examine both the political and military aspects of decision makers is because of the responsibility politicians have in providing checks and balances through service secretaries via the executive branch, as well as the congressional appointment process for senior military leadership. Understanding this relationship and how each echelon views itself in relationship to the other is what will provide context to solving the issues that face our military. You'll notice I didn't say this administration. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of this series, just remember to smash that subscribe button, tap that bell icon, and give this video a huge thumbs up to show your support for this channel and conservative solutions to problems every American faces each and every day. Again, I want to start by repeating the last statement I made before the channel advertisement. You'll notice I did not say this administration. This is a conscious statement to highlight the issues with military leadership and how they cannot be resolved through diplomatic measures. I know this idea may seem strange to many of those watching, and that is why we are going to do this through a series of episodes and try not to cram it all into just one 1-hour show. I've been advised by many fellow YouTubers and YouTube enthusiasts to keep my episodes around the 20-minute mark. So how do you share solutions to such complex topics like military leadership? Well, you got to broadcast them in a series format. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. So over the next few weeks, we're going to discuss the moral foundation of leadership as well as what the current leadership philosophy of the military is. We're going to examine in depth one particular piece of literature that was published recently that highlights the issues with current military decision makers, what the results of this prevailing philosophy is. Then, in the last episode in this series, we'll discuss the solutions and the way ahead for our military going forward. The military holds a very special place in my heart. I have spent my entire adult life serving my country. My career began before I was even out of high school. I joined the New Mexico Army National Guard in the summer between my junior and senior year in high school. My first drill weekend was in August of 1992. I continued to attend my drill weekends every month until I left for basic training after I graduated high school in 93. I served in the National Guard for 5 years, and then I joined the active duty Navy, where I was an ejection seat mechanic for 4 years. After 9/11, I decided I could do more good being a ground fighter than I could on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier. Now, I'm not implying there's anything wrong with that profession. Just given my past service in the Army, I felt this move was the right one for me. So through this short introductory episode, I want to set the tone for the rest of this series. This is an examination of the poly-military institutional philosophical decision-making process and not a judgment on the individual leaders at each echelon. Now, I will be providing examples of their behavior, but as this series progresses, it will become clear as to why the current philosophy driving decision makers is truly detrimental to our national defense, and why each and every American, regardless of political belief, should be very concerned with its future. My goal here is not to make fun of the military, but when we highlight shortcomings, people tend to get a bit defensive, and I'm going to try to head those concerns off right from the get-go. I am the father of 3 amazing kids, and if their mother and I ever saw them barreling towards any hazards, we would do all we could to ensure that they changed their course so that they would not injure themselves or anyone else. That's all this series is about. With all the reports coming in from our known enemies, as well as the frustrations I hear current military members expressing, both personally and through social media, this series is both necessary and timely. And what's more is we are going to do this from the perspective of maturity of thought and depth of understanding. That's why we here at the First Branch only air our episodes once a week. It actually takes time to understand a situation and place our actions in the context of the true issue to be resolved. And that takes mature leadership with a deeper understanding of the situation. We're going to provide that deeper understanding of how our military operates through this series and what morals our decision makers should be tied to. Because right now, what seems to be driving them is politics and not military success. And again, our goal here at the First Branch is to see our military succeed, not just in optics, but on the battlefield. And that's why this series will end with recommendations. Throughout my career in the military, I would have to attend what is known as Professional Military Education courses, or PME as they're called. You know how the military loves its acronyms. But in each of these courses, whether they were in the Navy or in the Army, there was a prevailing theme through all of them. And that theme was, never approach your leadership with a problem you have not already worked a solution for. I have matured in the military by them training me to frame the problem in context. And that's what we're going to do going through this series. We will begin in earnest with next week's episode, where we will discuss the morality of military decision making. We're going to draw some comparisons and use those comparisons to contrast why the morals for military decision making need to be different than those for our political overseers. It's going to be a wonderful journey through problem solving. I look forward to taking this journey with each and every one of our viewers. If you love the military and you want to see how to set her on the right track again, then please share this episode and don't forget to hit those buttons below to show your support for this channel and our great country. Because this is a great country, regardless of who's sitting in the White House. And this channel exists to help keep her that way. And as always, have a great weekend, America, and God bless.